You might think it's anxiety. That's what they told you. Stress, overthinking, emotional sensitivity. But what if that explanation is too superficial? What if what you're feeling doesn't originate just from the mind, but from something deeper, silent and invisible? Many chosen ones spend years trying to fit into labels that never fully explained what they've been experiencing. There is a clear pattern among sensitive, empathetic, and spiritually awakened people. They feel a tiredness that doesn't go away, an internal heaviness that's hard to explain, blocks that arise even when they're doing everything right. It's not a lack of effort. It's not a lack of faith. It's something operating outside the common emotional field, something almost no one teaches us how to recognize. The problem is that modern spiritual attacks don't show up in obvious ways. They disguise themselves as anxiety, discouragement, confusion, causeless fear. They don't scream. They don't reveal themselves. They work by draining, isolating, weakening, slowly. That's why so many chosen ones think they're broken, when in reality, they're under spiritual pressure. My name is George. I walk as a spiritual leader and have been observing these patterns for years, listening to people who feel exactly what you're feeling right now. If this message touched you, follow the channel and share this content. Other chosen ones need to understand that this is not just anxiety, and that there is clarity, protection, and a way out when truth comes to light. Symptom 1. You wake up exhausted, no matter how much you sleep. This is not regular fatigue. It's not due to lack of sleep, a busy routine, or restless nights. The chosen one wakes up tired, even after long hours in bed. The body may have rested, but the energy hasn't been restored. The feeling is of deep depletion, as if something was consumed during the night. Many report dreaming intensely and waking up with a heavy mind. Others say the body wakes up stiff, the chest tight, the head full, even without remembering specific dreams. It's not just physical, it's energetic. Rest doesn't reach the soul. This type of exhaustion is often confused with anxiety or mild depression. But here's a key detail. It doesn't improve with vacations, extended rest, or routine changes. The chosen one may take a break, but the exhaustion quickly returns. This indicates the problem isn't in daily effort, but in the spiritual field. During sleep, the energetic field is more open. The conscious mind steps back, and natural defenses weaken. In this state, spiritual interferences can access vital energy more easily. The person wakes up feeling unreplenished because they truly weren't. This doesn't mean that everyone who's tired is under spiritual attack, but when the fatigue is persistent, deep, without a clear cause, and accompanied by other signs, it's no longer just physical. It becomes a warning. The chosen one feels this because they carry greater sensitivity. Their energy is more noticeable on the spiritual plane. When there's no protection, it becomes an easy target. That's why the body wakes up empty, as if something was taken. Recognizing that this fatigue isn't normal is the first step to breaking the cycle. The chosen one isn't weak. They're being drained, and until this is clearly seen, rest will never be complete. Symptom 2. Emotional waves that don't feel like your own. One of the most confusing signs for the chosen one is sudden emotional shifts. One moment everything feels fine. The next, fear, sadness, anguish, or despair appear for no apparent reason. There's no negative thought, traumatic memory, or external event to explain the change. These emotional waves are often treated as anxiety or emotional instability. But the chosen one notices something odd. The emotion doesn't match their actual internal state. It feels invasive, strange, as if it had been placed there. Spiritually sensitive people function like antennas. They easily pick up on environments, other people's emotional states, and energy fields. When under spiritual attack, this sensitivity is exploited. Dense emotions are induced to generate confusion, fear, and weakness. The attack doesn't need to be aggressive. Most of the time, it's subtle. Small emotional waves that rise and fall, leaving the chosen one tired, doubting themselves and their sanity. The person begins to think, "Why am I feeling this way if nothing happened?" Unlike typical anxiety, these waves don't follow a logical pattern. They don't build gradually or go away with simple mental techniques. They come, take over, and vanish, leaving behind exhaustion. This sign indicates the chosen one's emotional field is vulnerable. Something external is trying to influence their inner state to create instability. Dense emotions weaken spiritual clarity and make energetic protection harder. The problem isn't feeling. The problem is absorbing what isn't yours. And this symptom is a clear warning that this is happening. Symptom 3. Constant feeling of a presence or being watched. This is one of the most ignored signs because many people are afraid to talk about it. The chosen one feels they're not alone, even when they are. They look around, check doors, hallways, the room. But no one is there. Still, the feeling remains. It's not fleeting imagination. It's recurring. It happens at home, especially at night or in quiet moments. It doesn't come with extreme panic, but with constant alertness. A subtle discomfort, like something is paying attention to your presence. This symptom is often dismissed as anxiety or mild paranoia. But the chosen one notices the difference. It's not formless fear. It's the sensation of presence, of being watched, of something unseen but clearly felt. In the spiritual realm, this indicates an active, energetic link. Something is connected to the chosen one's field, watching, following, trying to maintain access. Not necessarily in an aggressive way, but persistently. This feeling usually intensifies when the chosen one begins to awaken spiritually or question old patterns. As consciousness expands, the energetic field becomes more visible on the spiritual plane. This attracts unwanted attention. The body reacts. There's tension in the shoulders, neck, and chest. It becomes hard to fully relax. Even in physical safety, the system remains on alert. Ignoring this sign leads the chosen one to normalize the discomfort. They begin to live constantly in a state of vigilance, causing fatigue, secondary anxiety, and emotional strain. Recognizing that this sensation has a spiritual origin changes everything. The fear decreases because there's understanding. And where there's understanding, it's possible to strengthen the energetic field and sever the connection. The chosen one isn't imagining things. They're perceiving what many don't. And this symptom exists to warn, not to frighten. Symptom 4. Disturbing, invasive, or violating dreams. Not every strange dream is spiritual, but there's a specific kind that chosen ones immediately recognize as different. It's not just confusing or symbolic. It's disturbing, invasive, and leaves emotional marks upon waking. The person wakes up feeling tired, scared, or uneasy, as if something truly happened. These dreams often involve being chased, imprisoned, encountering shadows, voices speaking directly to you, or situations where your body or will is being invaded. In some cases, there are unwanted sexual experiences that bring no pleasure, only shame or repulsion upon waking. During sleep, the energy field is more exposed. For the chosen one, whose sensitivity is already heightened, this can allow spiritual interference. These dreams are not symbolic messages from the subconscious, but attempts at access, influence, or confusion in the astral field. Another clear sign is that these dreams often occur during periods of spiritual growth. When the chosen one starts strengthening themselves, questioning things, or changing patterns, these dreams tend to show up as a means of weakening and distraction. Ignoring these dreams allows the person to normalize the invasion. They wake up, try to forget, and move on. But the wear accumulates. The body feels it. Energy decreases. Silent fear grows. The chosen one is not spiritually failing for having these dreams. Quite the opposite. They often appear because light, sensitivity, and expansion are happening. Symptom 5. People begin to distance themselves without clear reason. A very common sign of spiritual attack is progressive isolation. Not the kind chosen consciously, but the kind that happens without explanation. People change their behavior toward you. Friendships cool down. Relationships fall into conflict out of nowhere. Small misunderstandings multiply. The chosen one tries to understand what they did wrong, but finds no answer. Simple conversations turn into arguments. Silence arises where there was once connection. It feels like you're being pushed out of relationships, despite not intending it. This process is often mistaken for social anxiety, self-sabotage, or just a phase of life. But there's a clear pattern. The distancing happens even when the chosen one is trying to maintain harmony, dialogue, and emotional balance. In the spiritual field, isolation is a classic weakening strategy. An isolated person loses reference, support, and collective energetic protection. They become more vulnerable to external influences and begin to doubt themselves more. In many cases, the people who distance themselves can't even explain why. They just feel discomfort, irritation, or sudden detachment. This occurs because conflicting energy fields create unconscious repulsion. Ignoring this sign causes the chosen one to accept isolation as fate. They shut down, go silent, and adapt to forced solitude, favoring even more spiritual draining. Recognizing that isolation may have a spiritual origin brings clarity back. The chosen one stops blaming themselves and starts protecting themselves. It's not about pushing everyone away, but about understanding that not all separation is your fault. Spiritual attack doesn't destroy all at once. It isolates first, weakens slowly, and this symptom is a clear warning that something needs to be seen. Symptom 6. You no longer recognize yourself. This is one of the most painful signs. The chosen one looks at themselves and feels that something has been lost. It's not just sadness, it's a feeling of inner estrangement. Passions have disappeared. Motivation is gone. The joy that once came naturally now feels distant. The person continues living, working, speaking, but feels incomplete, as if a part of themselves was left behind. There is a void that is hard to explain, one that doesn't resolve with rest, leisure, or external changes. This symptom is often treated as mild depression or an existential crisis, but the chosen one realizes it's not just that. It's not only sadness, it's erasure, disconnection from one's own essence. In the spiritual field, this happens when the energetic field is fragmented or weakened by continuous draining. Little by little, the person loses access to their own vital force, not because it disappeared, but because it is being blocked. Another associated sign is the loss of meaning. What once made sense now feels empty. The chosen one begins to live on autopilot without presence. This causes even more wear, because living disconnected from oneself consumes energy. This process is slow and silent. That's why it's so dangerous. The person adapts to a weakened version of themselves and begins to believe that they have changed, or that life is just like this now. Recognizing this symptom is an act of self-love. It means understanding that you didn't disappear. You were disconnected, and everything that was disconnected can be restored. Symptom 7. Your home feels heavy, even when everything is in order. You clean the house, organize objects, open the windows, try to make the environment pleasant, and yet you still feel that something is wrong. It's not dirt, it's not clutter. It's a sense of heaviness in the air. Certain rooms feel denser. Sometimes just one specific space causes discomfort, tension, or the urge to leave quickly. This symptom is often ignored or rationalized. The person thinks it's fatigue, imagination, or excessive sensitivity. But the chosen one realizes that the feeling doesn't go away with common measures. Even after rest, changes, or attempts at cleansing, the environment remains oppressive. In the spiritual field, the home reflects the energetic state of those who live in it. When there is continuous spiritual attack, part of that energy becomes fixed in the space, not as something visible, but as a dense atmosphere that interferes with emotional and mental well-being. Some signs accompany this heaviness: difficulty relaxing at home, a constant sense of alertness, sudden mood changes when entering certain rooms, restless sleep when sleeping there. In some cases, there are cold spots, pressure in the body, or discomfort without a physical cause. The chosen one feels this because their perception is sharper. They notice when the environment is not neutral. Ignoring this sign causes the home to stop being a place of rest and become another source of depletion. This symptom does not indicate that something evil is in the house, but that there is accumulated, unprocessed energy linked to the chosen one's own field. While the attack continues, the space also suffers the effects. Recognizing this is important to interrupt the cycle. A heavy environment is not normal. The home should welcome, protect, and restore. When that doesn't happen, it is a clear sign that something invisible needs care. Symptom 8. Animals react differently to you. Animals perceive what humans do not. They sense changes in the energetic field easily because they do not filter reality through the rational mind. When a chosen one is under spiritual attack, animals around them often react differently. Some animals suddenly distance themselves. Cats avoid contact. Dogs become restless or stare into empty space. Others do the opposite. They become excessively attached, follow the person around the house, or lie on top of them as if protecting them. These reactions are not random. They indicate that the person's energetic field is altered. The animal perceives the instability and responds according to its nature. It's not rejection nor ordinary attachment. It's a reaction to something invisible. Many chosen ones report that their animals become more alert at night, stare at specific points in the environment, or position themselves between the person and certain spaces. This is not coincidence. It is instinctive, spiritual perception. This symptom is often dismissed as strange animal behavior. But when the change is sudden, persistent, and coincides with other signs, it deserves attention. Animals do not judge or interpret. They feel. And when they feel something different in you, they react. Ignoring this sign is ignoring an important natural warning. Symptom 9. Pressure in the body and physical symptoms without explanation. One of the most confusing signs for the chosen one is physical symptoms that appear without a clear medical cause. Tightness in the chest, pressure in the head, heaviness in the forehead, tension in the neck, discomfort in the stomach. Tests show nothing, but the body insists on signaling that something is wrong. These symptoms are often attributed to anxiety. In some cases, they are even treated as emotional crises, but the chosen one notices something different. The sensation does not come with racing thoughts or conscious fear. It arises out of nowhere and disappears without logical explanation. In the spiritual field, these signs indicate energetic pressure. Certain points of the body are more sensitive to interference, especially regions linked to breathing, the mind, and intuition. When there is spiritual attack, these centers are directly impacted. The person feels as if something is compressing, pushing, or blocking the natural flow of energy. This generates real physical discomfort, even without an organic origin. Ignoring these signs makes the chosen one doubt themselves. They begin to think they are exaggerating or creating symptoms. This further weakens the emotional field. Recognizing that the body responds to the spiritual is fundamental. The body is a messenger. It warns when something invisible is out of balance. These symptoms do not mean illness, but alert. The body is saying that the energetic field is under pressure and needs attention, protection, and restoration. Symptom 10. Intense fear of being alone or of being perceived spiritually. This is not a common fear. It's not just fear of loneliness or emotional insecurity. The chosen one feels a deep discomfort when alone, especially at night or in silence. There is a sense of vulnerability, as if something could approach when there are no distractions. Even without clear thoughts, the body goes into alert mode. In other cases, the fear is not of being alone, but of being seen. The person feels that if they relax too much, something will perceive their spiritual presence. This does not come with clear images or rational ideas. It is a persistent intuition, hard to explain, but very real to the one who feels it. Symptom 11. Everything in your life seems blocked. You try to move forward, but nothing flows. Projects stall. Money doesn't move. Relationships don't develop. Opportunities appear and disappear quickly. It's as if there are invisible barriers on every path you try to take. The chosen one makes an effort, prays, plans, acts. Even so, results do not appear. This generates frustration, guilt, and a feeling of incapacity. Many begin to believe they are doing something wrong or that they do not deserve to prosper. This symptom is often treated as lack of focus, self-sabotage, or bad luck. But when the blocks are persistent, widespread, and do not respond to practical changes, it is necessary to look beyond. In the spiritual field, this pattern indicates energetic leakage or connections that keep the chosen one stuck in old cycles. The energy that should drive movement is being drained or diverted before it can materialize. The blockage does not happen in just one area. It spreads. Life feels heavy, slow, without response. This is not coincidence. It is the effect of continuous interference in the spiritual field. Ignoring this symptom causes the chosen one to exhaust themselves, trying to break invisible walls. They try harder, demand more of themselves, and lose even more energy. Recognizing that the blockage is not lack of ability, but spiritual interference restores lucidity. From there, it becomes possible to interrupt the cycle and recover the natural flow of life. Symptom 12. The feeling of slowly disappearing. This is one of the most silent and dangerous signs. The chosen one feels that they are still here, but not whole. Life continues, but without brightness. Presence diminishes. The person feels faded, invisible, as if living on autopilot. It is not intense sadness. It is not despair. It is emptiness. The person remembers who they once were and realizes that something was lost along the way. Vital energy has diminished. Spontaneity has disappeared. The connection with one's own essence has weakened. Symptom 13. You begin to feel inside that this is not just anxiety. After trying everything, something changes inside you. You have followed advice, rested, sought help, tried to understand rationally what is happening. Even so, nothing is fully resolved. It is at this point that a silent, persistent thought arises, almost like an inner whisper. This is deeper than anxiety. This thought does not come accompanied by fear, but by recognition. It is not despair. It is clarity. Something in you realizes that the common explanation does not reach the root of the problem. You feel that there is an invisible layer being ignored, something spiritual that is not being considered. This symptom is different from the others because it does not manifest directly in the body or emotions. It arises as awareness, as an inner call to look beyond. The chosen one begins to notice patterns, connections, and signs that previously went unnoticed. Intuition becomes more active. Many people ignore this sign because it breaks the comfortable narrative that everything can be resolved only with logic, diagnosis, or willpower. Accepting that there is a spiritual attack requires maturity and responsibility. It requires leaving the role of a confused victim and assuming the role of someone who needs to protect themselves. This inner whisper does not appear by chance. It arises when the soul is already tired of being drained, when the spirit asks for attention. It is a final alert before the wear becomes deeper. It is intuition saying that you are not crazy, nor weak, nor broken. The chosen one feels this call because they carry spiritual sensitivity. Not everyone reaches this point. Many get lost in labels and never question. You questioned. And that already says a lot. This symptom is a turning point. Either you ignore it and continue trying solutions that do not resolve, or you recognize that something spiritual is happening and begin to act with awareness. When this recognition happens, the attack loses part of its strength, because nothing sustains itself in the invisible when it is brought to light. This sign is not to frighten, it is to awaken. For a long time you may have thought you were failing, that you were not strong enough, that you needed to try harder, be more positive, more balanced. Perhaps you compared yourself to others who seemed to deal with life better. All of this weighs, all of this tires. The truth is that many chosen ones carry invisible battles, and fighting without understanding the enemy is exhausting. Recognizing that there is a spiritual attack is not weakness, it is lucidity. It is the first step to interrupt the draining and recover your strength. Now I want to hear from you. Comment below. Did you identify with any of these symptoms? Have you been called anxious when you felt it was something deeper? Have you tried to explain what you feel and realized that no one understood? Your comment may help other people recognize themselves too. Many live in silence, thinking they are alone.